he was serving as a flight sergeant in the Royal Air Force in 1945. Aged 17, it's thought the young Jamaican had travelled thousands of miles so he could volunteer to fly and fight in World War II. After training, he flew as a crew member in the Avro Lancaster, Britain's famous strategic bomber that was used as the RAF's main weapon against targets in Germany. In December, the Air Force veteran died alone in his flat in West London.
Fiercely independent, stubborn as hell, but a wonderful guy, always smiling. He was never miserable. He sort of chatted about his health. He was always complaining about one thing and another, but he kept going. So my knee hurt, but I've got to walk to the shops, got to keep it going.
Peter Brown had no known relatives. Now officials are searching for family members to attend his funeral. After Peter Brown came to Britain, he trained as a wireless operator and air gunner, and he flew in a Lancaster bomber like this one when he served in 625 Squadron. He was one of 450 young black men from the Caribbean, Africa and parts of the UK to fly with the RAF during the Second World War.
They were specialists. They became a tightly knit team. Everyone's survival depending on everyone's ability to do their jobs. They were the best and the brightest. They took only the best and the brightest. His job was one of that team. Without him, they would not have been able to go forward.
It's hoped that anyone related to Peter Brown or anyone who knew him will get in touch ahead of his funeral next week, so he can be given the very best send-off he deserves. Helena Wilkinson.
A very pleasant good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Big Stone Television. I have great news to report about ex-flight serviceman, veteran Peter Brown. As you know, Peter Brown died on the 17th of December in 2022. There were plans made to cremate his body on the 29th of March 2023. However, a lot of appeal have been made in trying to find the family of ex-Flight Sergeant Peter Brown, but to no avail. So I did a story on it, saying to the fact that Peter Brown is a Jamaican, and the story was forwarded to me by Magdalene Maggie Edwards. And when she sent the story to me, she said, "Big Stone, a lady sent this to me, and I've not seen a lot of traction on the story. And I know that your platform, Big Stone, will help to create the traction that we need for this story to be all over the world." And ladies and gentlemen, just take a look. Thank you all of the members that fought in World War II, that died lonely, but you helped to put England where they are today. King Charles, sir, I understand that you're now the King of England, and rightfully so, sir. I'm asking you please, to make reference of this soldier who died alone in his apartment on the 17th of December 2022. His name is Flight Sergeant Peter. Immediately after Magdalene Maggie Edwards sent me the story of ex-Flight Sergeant Peter Brown, I immediately went to the National Heroes Park, and I went directly to the tomb of the unknown soldier, and I made an appeal. An appeal to the King of England, King Charles III. And I also made an appeal to our Prime Minister, Andrew Onis, for them to look into this case. Here is a man that left Jamaica when he was only 17 years old. He went and he fought in World War II, just like all the others. He survived. A very few survived. And he lived to be somewhere in his 90s, late 90s. He died, and they cannot contact any members because he died alone in an apartment in Westminster. But because there is a new development hundreds and thousands of people are now clamoring and wanted to be at the funeral, where they originally wanted the funeral to be with only the house, 140 people. Plus there were other funerals going on. So let's go to the newsletter in the update of the funeral service of ex-Flight Sergeant, veteran Peter Brown. Let's look at this. Flight Sergeant Peter Brown funeral to be moved following appeal from mourners. The funeral of Flight Sergeant Peter Brown, who volunteered to serve in the armed forces during the Second World War, is to be moved after organizers were inundated with requests to attend the service. Mr. Brown, who died at his home in Maida Vale, came to Britain from Jamaica and is believed to be the very last of the so-called pilots of the Caribbean. A new date and venue are being arranged to accommodate the very many well-wishers who would have inundated the undertakers and the cemetery office for details of the service, which was due to be held at Mort Lake on Wednesday the 29th. The council is working closely with the RAF and the Ministry of Defence on preparation to ensure that Mr. Brown is given a suitable service. Typically, the 140 space capacity at Mort Lake Chapel would have provided room for a fitting send-off. But Mr. Brown's previously untold story, which was only covered after weeks after research by the council archivists and historians, has captured the public imagination, which means, ladies and gentlemen, the story has now gone viral. So I just want to take this time out again and big up Maggie Edwards. You didn't think much in passing the story. You say you had to do it from your heart because you love the West Indian people and you love Jamaica, and what this young soldier did for Britain, he should be recognized in the highest manner. So I salute you and hats off to you. I also want to salute former serviceman Donald Campbell. Details of the future date and venue are still being finalized, but will be announced as soon as possible. We're looking to secure a venue closer to Mr. Brown's home in Westminster. Westminster City Council, which is legally responsible for the funeral, said it became clear that the original plans were too small. After a hugely successful call-out from owners by the media and online, we really want to thank the group that has convened to support the council in making the necessary arrangements. Additional time will be allowed the council to work with the well-wishers, community groups and the military to give Mr. Brown the send-off he deserves. The priority remains providing Mr. Brown a fitting, dignified funeral and allowing everyone who wishes to pay their respect the chance to do so. A change in venue will ensure, which reflects the many different elements of Mr. Brown's life can be held. We believe this will be more dignified and respectful. When the original funeral was planned, little was known about Mr. Brown's life. He was probably the very last of the West Indian RAF pilots. He played a particular historical and cultural role. He was a private man who did not boast about the role he played in the war, even though it would have been of great interest to a wider audience. It was only as our public funeral officers attempted to trace friends and relatives with the help of the funeral directors that the full significance of his contribution to his adopted home became clear. Thanks to the many caring neighbors and friends, historians, military organizations, cultural groups, and individuals, as well as the media, that generate such a huge amount of interest. This decision has been taken seriously. We know that people are very passionate about this, and we are truly sorry to those who plan to attend have been scuppered. But it became clear that the chapel itself will not hold a large amount of the public who are expected to turn out. It has also been very important to consider the potential disruption large crowd would cause to other funerals planned either side of Mr. Brown's ceremony. Wow, wow, wow. I feel great. I feel good to know that I could use my platform and to have a fan of the like of Maggie Edwards. and to have also a friend like ex-serviceman, veteran, Donald Campbell. Thank you all. Oh, how could I forget? My teacher, Major retired, F.M. White. They are very serious and very influential people. guardians in their own rights as well. And we took the initiative, Right Excellent Mr. Garvey, and says, put our own other pedestal. Whenever we get a chance, make it into our heroes and heroes. Mr. Garvey, I want to say thank you, sir, for instilling these great attributes so that I can live and walk towards, sir, and call upon your name, the Right Excellent Marcus Messiah. So, Flight Sergeant Peter Brown, anywhere you are, sir, never met you, but I want to thank you for the work that you've done, what you've done for my country, Jamaica, and what you've done for the United Kingdom. Because, sir, even though you went through this war, not as a citizen of the United Kingdom, but as a subject, I would only hope so royal citizenship will be bestowed upon you. And also, sir, the Medal Bravery from the United Kingdom and, of course, Jamaica. And, of course, the ice order that can be contributed to a human being outside of heroism be bestowed upon you in Jamaica as well. Thank you for your service, sir, and thank you for your selflessness. Because of you, I am standing on great shoulders. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Please like and share this video. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, thank you so much.